Afternoon, everybody. How are things?
Busy.
Good. Then let's keep this short and sweet, and you can get back to your busy day. It being 2:00, I thereby call this meeting of the Citrus County Aviation Advisory Board to order. There are no objections. Invite everybody to stand so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jenkins, if you could be so kind as to let us know who's here for the record.
Okay, today in attendance, we have Carl Flanagan.
Here.
Mark Klingel.
Here.
George McDonald.
Here.
Charles Carr.
Here.
Heiko Kallenbaugh.
Here.
Absent, I am showing Louise Michaels and Keith Police.
Thank you very much. Members of the board, have you had a chance to review last month's minute meetings? Do we have any issues with them? Otherwise,
I'd make a motion to accept.
thank you. So moved by Carl,
Second.
second by Mark. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public that would like to come and speak today about anything at all that's on your mind? Come on up. If you could please give Danae your name again and where you live. And we now have a time limit.
That's okay. I will take like
3
1
minutes and 47.75
Okay.
seconds. Don't
I
go
can do it.
over
I
by
can
a
do that.
bit.
My name is Diane Paquette, and I live on Flight Path Court in Crystal River. And I'm here. Well, first of all, I wanted to say I appreciate you adding the public input after the reports, also, so that I can listen to the reports, and if I have anything else, I can come back up.
Perfect.
I'm here to represent Crystal Paradise Estates, the community surrounding the Crystal River Airport. And with the pending runway extension, the residents just wanted to ensure that they have some input regarding the entrance, exit, or the drive around, or whatever they're going to do. I know there's probably 4 proposals, and they wanted to be included in the input on those. So especially the people on the other side of the airport on golf course. And I didn't know if there would be a public meeting other than the advisory meetings, or for a time for public input on that or not.
Thank you.
I also have some residents expressed some other concerns, and you may have already addressed these, but I just want to pass them on for the record. A resident on Jim Lane, which is kind of right behind the end of the runway. He is concerned about the increased noise level after dusk when the runway's expanded and the larger airplanes come in. And I don't know if it's still going to be primarily dawn to dusk, or which it is now, but I don't know if that's going to change or not. And my neighbor on Flight Path is concerned about the water retention. Doesn't know if there's going to be more water runoff once the runway is expanded, because right across from me, and I live like the last house before golf course, there's a water retention every time it rains at the end of the runway or beside the end of the runway, and it flows onto Flight Path sometimes. And I don't know if the extension will maybe alleviate that, or take care of that, or make it worse. So, and last, we on Flight Path are a little concerned about the increased truck traffic once they start construction. We just want to make sure that it doesn't damage the road. That's it.
Okay, thank you
So
very
I think
much.
that's under 3 minutes, so.
No worries. No worries.
47 seconds.
So, with respect to noise levels after dusk, the predominant use of the airport during the daytime is not going to change. It's not
Okay.
expected to change, I should say. The instrument approaches on which the larger jets rely, because that guarantees that they can get in, they're still not authorized at night. So and we're not anticipating any change to that.
Okay,
So to that extent, we still expect there to be a little bit of flight training going on at night,
Oh,
as there
sure.
always
Yeah,
has been. But the larger jets will almost certainly be coming and going during the daytime hours. Which is not to say that they'll never depart at night,
oh, yeah.
but
I
we
mean,
don't
they do
expect it to
sometimes
be,
now, but
right,
it's
right.
not,
Todd, do you have any input as to, or Frank, about the water retention and whether there'll be public input on how the roads will be rearranged?
There's a few alternatives for the roads that we've discussed previously. When it comes to water retention, that'll all be a part of the design, and it'll be heavily looked at least with technical services too, I'm sure, or stormwater, if that's part of the concern. But those items do get addressed for sure.
okay,
They're not ignored.
okay.
Will there be any sort of public input ability with respect to the roadway decision-making process?
There can be, and if there's any questions, you can address them to me, or come to an AAB and address it like she is right now. Sure.
May I suggest,
Yeah.
maybe the forum to do that would be here. As those plans are developed, I presume they're being developed according to a stage like 30, 60, 100 or something.
You're correct.
And then, once they get, say, to a 60% stage, could we ask that the plans be shown here? And this would be an opportunity for the public, if they're interested, to come in and look.
That's a reasonable request. Yeah, no problem.
Great. And just to let you know, with the bulk of the time it takes to do a project like this is taken up by environmental studies, which include water retention. So they're very, very aware of what is going to happen to the neighborhoods, what's going to happen to the wildlife, what's going to happen to everything that has anything to do with the environment around, in and around the airport. So they'll certainly be looking at that, and will do everything they can to ensure that the water goes where we all would like it to, and stays away from the
Maybe they'll
places.
correct the problem that's existing. I don't know.
They could well. And obviously, yes, there will be some increased truck traffic as, just like when you see them repaving a road. There's going to be some for some period of time. Obviously, they'll keep that to a minimum. Any idea whether they'll be working around the clock? So, i.e. at night, or it'll just be a daytime thing?
No, as far as I know, it'll just be daytime. It'll be certain hours. We haven't gotten that far yet, but I can imagine. I cannot imagine them having to work overnight, having second shifts and all that.
Right.
I know when they repaved the runway recently, they made, they kind of reinforced an exit, kind of down by the armory. And then, but the trucks that were loaded came in on flight path at that gate at the end of our road, and then exited empty on the road down that they made. And I kind of thought maybe they could reverse that and go in the loaded on that way and then come out empty on flight path to kind of eliminate the damage to our road. But I don't know who designed or why they did that. There probably is some reason I'm not aware of.
Probably traffic flow, but
Yeah.
that's something that when we get to that part, all of these specifics will be addressed. And
I just
Sure.
wanted it on the record that our little community is a little concerned about it, so. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Mr. Chen.
James Chen, represent the Crystal Arrow Group. First, I'd like to wish everybody on the board and happy holiday and Merry Christmas. I have one item to report is our sister company, Quest Avionics Shop, in the process of moving to Crystal River. We are happy to report 99% done, and we are expecting to resume the service probably within 2 weeks from the FAA blessing. It will be temporarily operating on our current maintenance hangar, joined with our current maintenance facility, while we are working to get a new hangar to be built. So when that getting proceeded, it will need all the support from the board. Thank you.
Thank you. State your name for the record, please, sir.
Andy Chan, Right Rudder Aviation. Just a couple quick updates. MESA program is running strong. In fact, we received one more aircraft for the program, bringing the total to 19 aircraft that we operate for Mesa Airlines. That program is going exceptionally well, and super happy about that program. We what else I want to say? Last time I had said that we're looking for mechanics. I'm pleased to announce that we've made a couple more hires to bring our maintenance team up to 6 personnel at this point in time. We had been having a gap there for a while, so super excited to welcome just yesterday a couple of our new team members. Still looking for flight instructors though, so if anyone knows great flight instructors, we're still looking for 3 additional hires on flight instructor side. And other than that, business is going well. Had a great meeting today with a couple of gentlemen in this room, and I'm sure that's going to be talked about later. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, folks. Appreciate that. New business, 2024 AAB meeting dates. Are we looking to change them?
No, sir. I provided you a list of dates with your packet there, so I just need you to review it and then make your motion to approve it, and that's what they will be.
Without looking at the calendar, I assume these are all Thursday, same time?
Yep.
Okay.
All Thursdays. The 9th was Tuesday. That was like, what you had on it before was a Tuesday, was the 9th. 11th is Thursday.
I'm sorry.
No, it's just that these are now all Thursday because he had marked down, or it was marked down as the 9th, which was a Tuesday, rather than the normal Thursdays.
Oh,
Looks good to me. Do you need a resolution to approve these, Danae?
yes, please.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Move it. Second.
Moved by George, seconded by Charlie. Discussion? Seeing none, you ready to vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? These meeting dates are now approved. Thank you very much. SWOT analysis, not to be confused with SWAT techniques or attacks.
Yes, an email was sent out earlier about filling out this SWOT analysis. It's very important for our financial study. In fact, Dr. Byers is in the audience right now, if anybody has any questions regarding that. So if you've received the email, please fill it out. That's your opportunity to get your voice heard. Any questions on that?
Did everybody get the email?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
good. And
Good.
what is the deadline for filling that out, sir?
Next Friday.
Next Friday?
I'll send out a reminder on Monday.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Dr. Byers, as long as you're here, A, have you had coffee and donuts? And B, is there anything that you'd like to say?
I'll make it brief. Good afternoon, everyone. Dave Byers with Quadrix Aviation. Now, today was part of my fact-finding mission to, per the county commission meeting, we met with both FBOs this morning. Very insightful in terms of their perspectives on where they're at and where they'd like to go. A lot of that will be documented in the report, but other than some other detailed type information, I think we're just about ready to start formulating some alternatives for you to consider, and then we'll have that discussion. in the January meeting.
Is there anything else you need from us other than fill out the forms?
No, sir. Like I said, that provides a lot of that information on how each one of you as individuals perceive both airports. And obviously, we send them out to the tenants, to the FBOs, and other county folks. So, generally what happens with that is it becomes kind of a consensual view of how each airport is being perceived. There'll be lots of different opinions, plus or minus. But overall, the hope is that that bigger picture starts to evolve. Not so much what I observe or what I've heard, but essentially hearing from you as and providing that direct input.
In terms of airport users, other than Wright Rudder and Crystal Air Group, are there other parties that use the airports that you're canvassing?
Beyond the tenants, no, I don't believe we really reached out to them as much as we have the folks who actually keep their aircraft here and operate out of either airport.
Those people are being surveyed then, the tenants of
Yes,
the
sir, they
hangars
got a
themselves?
copy of the SWOT.
Okay,
In fact,
okay.
I've got a grand total of 1 right now that I received so far, so at least I know the system works. But then, just getting that input, and then what we'll start to do is compile, and you'll get the raw data. This is what everybody said, and then what you'll start to see is certain themes will start to evolve for each category. And I think those are the things that we can focus on in terms of, well, this is perceived as a weakness or a threat or an opportunity. Those are things that you can concentrate on, particularly if you have a real strong consensus view. I mean, that gives you a lot more confidence that it's not just one person, but this is several people that are making that same general comment.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. On to old business.
Yes, financial analysis and business planning study, still gathering data. It didn't make it onto this agenda, but for the next meeting, we'll be talking a little bit more about the data that was received. Hopefully get some more information. So that'll be for the January 11th meeting.
Talk a little bit about that?
Daniel Elsey with ICE is also in the crowd. Please come up.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Daniel Ossie. So talking to Todd, looking at our scope and looking at schedule, we presented to the Board of County Commissioners a couple weeks ago, and one of the major items was you guys on schedule. And I think we are, looking at what was to take place in November, December. Dave presented to you guys, was it last month, the month before? Time flies when you're having fun. But one of them was, have you guys met with the FBOs? Well, check that off. And, I spent a few hours this morning, and as Dave said, it was a really insightful, it was a great meeting, good information. And so to couple that of what Dave said, if we're giving them a couple hours of our time to listen and not just fill out the SWOT analysis, we're offering the same things to the Board of County Commissioners and yourselves. So not that it's a polling, right? It's everybody has their own individualized opinions. There's obviously going to be a consensus and average at the end, but we want to give each of you guys the opportunity to talk and voice your opinions. And we've talked about this before, whether it's in a public forum, it may look a little different. So by all means, we'll share our contact information with you. And if you want to set up a call, and, I'm less than an hour away, come up here and sit down with you, have some coffee. So I'm always up for some donuts, and we could talk through it. So for next month, what's on that schedule is a strategic business planning workshop. So it's not going to be so much informational as the last meeting, but more so, hey, we've done our discovery process, we've gone through the financials, we've met with the tenants, we've got a good grasp on how business is operating comparative to other markets. Here's some things that we saw, here's some things that you guys recommend, and start fleshing out some of those grander ideas of, all right, you sure this is the way we want to go? And here's another option. And more one-on-one, but as a group. And I think it would still be an open forum, open meeting, obviously, but I think that's the goal for next month.
Is that a workshop held by the commissioners? Or,
No. Well, there will be two, really. The strategic business planning workshop is with you guys.
Mhm.
Okay?
Okay.
And there's been, in part of our discussions and questions that have been asked is, what's the value of the AAB? Well, we're about to show them. So give you guys the opportunity to be at the front of these recommendations, along with your business partners and your staff.
Mhm.
And then from that, narrow down that path a little bit more. And that's what goes to the Board of County Commissioners. And it's stamped with approval. And if you guys, after that business planning workshop, want to adopt, hey, this is kind of our plan, we agree with this, or we can come back. I think in February, the end of February, the 20th. Yep.
Is what we're aiming for.
February 20th would be, hey, here's our presentation, flipping through slides, this is the information, here's our process. These are our recommendations of what you need to input. Facility development, rules and regulations, tenant relations, whatever comes out of the study, that's where it's going to be displayed.
Great.
So,
Just for planning purposes to maximize availability, when were you thinking of having the workshop that would involve us?
it's,
January 11th.
January
Yeah, I
11th?
believe that's the next, it's our next date.
Okay. So it would be in conjunction with our monthly meeting?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
FAA training.
How's that coming?
It's not. I can't really get in touch with anyone. I'm kind of just on hold.
That guy was so eager to help, and all of a
And-
sudden he's ghosting you?
I guess you can call it that. But I think ever since that hurricane came through, it was a hurricane, right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came through and it kind of disrupted some things. And after that, it's just been, yeah. Just so happens the day that we're supposed to have that was the day that the hurricane came through. So more to follow. I know that they're short-staffed. I keep saying that every single time, but I'm going to still try to make connections and see if we can get him out or just to give us some training.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on their schedule.
Well, do what you can. I think it's an important thing for us to get through and get our local law enforcement on board with.
Agreed.
Give them a concept of what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
The marker balls, if you haven't noticed yet, they are installed for 1836. They were installed about a couple weeks ago. So nice, fresh, bright orange marker balls right there on the power lines for Godfrey Lane.
They're beautiful. They're new. They're sparkly.
Yeah.
Got a little. They need some Christmas ornament though.
We could, yeah, okay.
So I brought this up before. I have occasion from time to time living on the west side of the county to operate in and out of the Crystal River Airport. I happened to land on runway 36 the other day. And we've talked about this before. And I'm telling you, there's power lines there. And they are way higher than the ones on Godfrey. The person with whom I was flying was actually operating the airplane, and they were coming in to land on 36, and they were coming in a little bit low. So I said, all right, we're a little bit low. Let's, add a bit of power, get back on glide path. And I looked down at these power lines and said, ugh. And I want to say that they're right around Penn Street. But there's absolutely a set of power lines there. And those power lines, I mean, obviously we've gone decades without them being marked and nothing bad has ever happened. That doesn't mean that something bad might not happen.
Okay.
Charlie, it's my understanding you have occasion from time to time to operate out of the Crystal River Airport. You know the power lines I'm talking about?
Exactly. And I think what's going on there is that Tom Davis worked his worked really hard for a long time to try to get those trees cut down. Because at the time, the trees were taller than the power lines. And so therefore, nobody paid much attention to it. But now, since the widening of 19 and they cut all those trees down, now you can see the power lines. And in fact, you have to be very careful. If somebody's not familiar with the airport, they could be a hazard.
And of course, there's no vasty or anything like that on the grass strip, nor do we think there's necessarily a need for it. But if you come in low and you're not watching out, that top wire, it's several levels of power line.
Sure.
And the bottom ones are pretty solidly dark black. The top one is like gray or something like that. And it's much more difficult to see.
Yeah, high power, yeah.
And obviously the power lines are much harder to see than the trees that used to be covering them. So something maybe at some point when you get some free time and you want to head down to Crystal River, take a look at that. You got to drive a little bit south of Venable on 19, and you will see some pretty high power lines there that have always been there, but they used to be covered up by trees.
Okay.
And
More marker balls?
Clearly, we need to put the trees back.
maybe that's the solution.
No, that's a reasonable.
Replant the 100-foot trees, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that with the construction of the power lines, all you have to do is be on 19, and you could see a clear swath all the way to Venable.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I've been noticing all that construction take place there, and it is a concern.
I know on Venable itself, they're doing some power line work.
They are.
Yeah.
The 19 to Venable,
Yeah,
but on that section as well.
yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look. You may have mentioned it before. This is news to me, but I'll take a look.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
moving
you.
on.
Moving on to hangars. Inverness has 16 T hangars, 0 vacancy, and 21 are still on the waiting list. Crystal River, out of the 20 T hangars, 1 vacancy. It's actually, no, that's right, yeah, 1 vacancy. And then, 21 on the waiting list as of yesterday. So a little bit of an update. And then the box hangars, still 6 are waiting. 0 vacancy.
Obviously, we need more boxes.
We do.
So a question for you, Todd, is the fact that we've got 1 vacancy, but yet we've got 22 on the waiting list. Is there a reason, size-wise, that someone has not already taken that 1 vacant?
Well, actually tomorrow I'm doing tomorrow is a post inspection. Someone is leaving. So that would, actually the vacancy is going to be 0.
Okay.
Yeah. In a few weeks, that'll be 0 and the waiting will be 20, I think, or 21.
Thanks.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, county commission updates?
FDOT grant amendment, Inverness Airport corporate hangar, approved a few days ago. So I'm going to take that and bring that back to FDOT. Excuse me. In January 9th, we have both 2 FDOT grants, one for Crystal River fuel tanks and the other is for the maintenance and remarking of Inverness Airport on the runway, taxiway, and aprons. Any questions with those?
Questions? No, thank you.
Okay. On to major projects. First one is Crystal River runway extension. Nothing really new. Still doing the pre-EA or phase 1. Still collecting data. And that's still on schedule for late February. And FAA is also reviewing a bill grant for the Aegis survey, which is a few projects that are incorporated with this project alone. We had a meeting with them. It was last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago. Just just going over all of our projects with them as this year closes. And this was one of them. So, yeah, more to follow.
Excellent.
Yeah. Next is the fuel tank replacement. As soon as I get that grant back, send that to FDOT and just keep moving that forward. Wetland removal wildlife study, nothing to note. It should be wrapped up by January of next year.
And just for the dumb guy, is
Oh,
this related to the runway extension, or is this a separate
It's a
study?
separate project, but it impacts the extension for sure. It does.
Is it part of the overall EEA study for the extension?
It's broken up in two. It is. They're two separate projects. The EA is its own project, and this is its separate project.
And so if we weren't doing the runway extension, we'd still be doing this wildlife study, wetland removal?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Can I ask what your consultant is doing that?
For the wetland removal, AID.
All right.
And then Inverness airspace study obstruction removal. I'm still waiting on staff's interpretation of obstructions with the land development code. But that project is also going to be, we've talked with the FAA about this, myself and our consultant, Daniel Alsey with ICE, and we're trying to find a pathway forward. This is a long process, trying to mitigate over 1,500 trees. Yeah, we're trying to find a pathway forward, and more to follow with that. Yeah, it's taken some time. We're not so much concerned about, we are concerned with the obstructions on airport, but those are easier manageable than it is off. Now we're starting to get into sensitive territory.
Are these trees and the obstruction of the airspace, is this something the FAA has remarked on, or that the airport operators have said needs to be addressed?
Definitely the FAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Andy, do we care whether these trees get removed? Is there an issue?
Actually, it started with FDOT, who does the airport inspections, and then went to
They were
FAA.
part of it, yeah.
And it's because of the design criteria of the airport is based on a certain size of aircraft, and that's called out on the airport master plan. And so because of that, for years now, our PAPIs have been purposely decommissioned, even though they're paid for, they're in place. But because the trees grew so tall, you can't follow the glide slope that the PAPIs offer, or you'd hit the trees. So it is important to, a lot of 135 operators are very disappointed that our PAPIs do not work. And there are some companies who won't come in because of that, for sure. So we do have reduced traffic and therefore reduced fuel flow because of those trees. The trees themselves that are the big ones are on private property, which is the challenge. So the biggest ones are, as you're approaching runway 19er, there's a hill in the neighborhood. So it takes those tall trees and pushes it up even further. But there are all the important ones that are messing up the glide path are on private property. So it is going to be immensely challenging to figure that out.
Gotcha. Is the airport authorized for use at night without the PAPIs?
Oh, yeah.
It is, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just people have to know to come in high, a little bit.
You do have to know, airport lighting is not a requirement to land at an airport at night, actually, but it is helpful, of course. So yeah, and it's noted in there's a permanent NOTAM at it. You're not supposed to have permanent NOTAMs, but it's on NOTAM because we don't have a date for
Right.
when that would ever be cleared. So the 135 operators look at that, and some of them choose to go to Ocala or Brooksville or something like that because of those.
All right, thank you.
And, Daniel, do you mind speaking a little bit on, Daniel Elsey with the ICE comments on this?
Yeah, Daniel Elsie. There's a lot to say. I think just to go along with what Todd said, it's a long process. There's the FAA's interpretation and the steps that they want the county to take. in our professional experience, that's not the path you should take. So we're working through a few items, trying to get some clarity. Ultimately, the FAA, they're against the project, is my take on it, in favor of a displacement of the runway, which is problematic. If you're looking at a business park, you're talking about growing business, it's just hems you in. And once you do that, you set a precedent that, good luck ever coming back and changing that decision. So it needs to be a methodical, legal-based decision. There's a land development code that allows, and the provisions of clearing your airspace. It's actually part of the Inverness City Land Development Code. And so Todd said, getting legal's interpretation on that, what your rights and responsibilities of the county, and then also going to the FAA and trying to rearrange some of those pieces so that you don't get bogged down in the pre-EA, then the EA, and all these things that other airports, as your neighbors, are doing things that's promulgated under what's called Chapter 333. It's airport zoning. It was pushed through 2020, and every land development code ordinance that was passed subsequent to that required review by the FDOT, aviation section. So it has the blessing, just a matter of how you enforce it. So right now it's a 7-to-1 approach surface. Visual is a 20-to-1, non-precision is 34-to-1. If you ever wanted to get 50-to-1 for a Cat 1 ILS, you'd probably, different story that we shouldn't talk about right here. I think it's doable. I think the FAA everywhere else is in support of it. And when you look at precedent and how law is, you do it here, you kind of got to apply the same standard here. So if they're not making Orlando do it, Tampa do it, Brooksville do it, why Inverness?
So what I'm hearing you say is we can simply leave things as they are and commission a steeper glide path through the runway?
I would not do that. No, because you can do it and it's allowed. Right now it's a 7-to-1, which is pretty steep. And it's visual, completely visual. There's no cues. You don't have pappies. You don't have
7-to-1?
Yeah.
That's and
the trees aren't getting shorter.
I heard that.
Yeah.
It's like kids, though. You can try not feeding them anymore, but bad things happen then.
it's a delicate process that you should go through.
Yep.
I've been through quite a few in my history. You want to be good neighbors, and you've got to work through that process. So we did meet with Mr. Howard last week and talk through just from a global perspective of what the FAA thinks and what the next few months may look like. Earlier in the year, you guys had a project to remove the obstructions on airport. Didn't get any bidders, so the FAA was concerned that if you move forward with that, you may actually lose out on your entitlement funds. You've got to let them know at a certain time, or not they don't roll over. A little bit of bureaucracy, and so that's the system that we're playing in. They said, all right, if you're not doing that, we're going to jump to outside the airfield, because if you don't do that, the inside of the airfield may not matter anymore, because now your runway is displaced and those trees are now behind you when you land instead of right on top of you. But,
All right. Well, thank you. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to get the pappies back, get the 135 operators happy,
Yeah.
and get everybody coming in the way using the airport the way they should be able to.
that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Business Park?
Business Park, all right. Phase 1, the NTP was changed again to March 13th. We're still waiting on some parts for the lift station, some electronics like a panel and a generator plug. When those come in, they're out quite. I think it was a 10-week lag period. So somewhere early January is when we should be receiving them, and then the turnaround, it shouldn't take long. to assemble all those pieces and get that up and running. We also have a punch list that we're working off of as well. Just got that yesterday afternoon, and so some of the reasons why we requesting to change that NTP. Any questions with that? Any with phase one?
Did have just a general question.
Yeah.
The large stockpiles of earth that I see over
Oh,
at
yeah.
the Inverness Airport, what's that all about?
It's a fantastic question. We have about 140,000 cubic yards worth of fill. And I'm looking at as, and the silver lining with that is any type of development that we need to use fill, we now have it. We don't have to pay for it. So with the projects that are going on with Inverness and the future projects, we get to use it. One in particular will be the corporate hangar that's coming there shortly. And then also part of that fill will be used for the taxiway extension and anything else that really comes up in the future. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Corporate hangar?
Well, no, I want to talk about phase two for the business park before moving.
I'm sorry.
Before moving on, that's quite all right. Just to remind you that these are broken up into two phases but they are really two separate projects. They are. So when it comes to phase two, we've submitted everything, all the grant language and line items for this project. So it's in Florida Commerce's, their ballpark, and hopefully they come back with us soon with the grant agreement, and I can send that to the board. And then we can start moving forward with the aviation side of that business park. All right, corporate hangar. Grant was approved and going to be sending that to FDOT.
Wonderful.
Yep. And then the Inverness pavement and remarking, same thing. Well, the grant agreement, I believe it's sitting on legal's desk. So as soon as we get that looked over, then I'll go to the board. Yep. And then airport signage and landscaping. I'm still working with ICE, just developing a scope of work. But we're also going to be working with FDOT for some grant opportunities as well for both airports, signs and landscaping. And that's it for major. Any questions before I move on to minor?
I think not.
Okay, well, minors. Yes. Not really much going on with minor, but Mark, you weren't here for the last time. I added this here because just to show whenever the progress of these minor, like paints and things like that, you guys see that as well. So just to be transparent. The biggest one is going to be the AWAS replacement. Talked with the FAA about that using entitlement funds. I do have quotes, and they're all, in my opinion, very reasonable. So getting a plan to move forward with that. The rest of the projects, it's not much has really changed. When it comes to the clean and paint, there's 3 projects on the M-box hangars, the shade hangar, and the corporate hangar. Waiting for, I think a new RFQ is going to be proposed with the county for a paint.
Okay.
So I'm kind of waiting on that to see how I can move forward with them. And then there's the deck and ramp at the old FBO. I'd like to get a quote to get that all replaced for that as well. And then the awning at Crystal River. I'm still waiting on a quote from the gentleman I spoke with a month ago. So not much really to report. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Do you have any presentations, anything we need to, as far as board communication, really, those of you that want to, George, Carl, Charlie, make sure you get your resumes in, applications in, assuming you want to stick around. I understand that Keith is not going to reapply. At least that's what Danae has told us, so we'll be looking for somebody new from District 5.
I'll miss his expertise in leases and that sort of thing. He's
Yeah,
been very
absolutely.
insightful.
Yeah. Where's District 5? What part of the county? Well done.
I think it might be the Barge Canal area, the north end, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I feel like that could be
Usually when that question comes up, there's a map that
sorry.
has the.
the map.
Right,
is
right.
wrong.
We should have a map in here.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure it out. Does he? Okay.
Oh,
George, where do
no,
you
that's,
live?
Bays.
I'm in District 4,
But where do you live?
Inverness.
Inverness, okay, so Inverness, obviously, at least parts of Inverness are District
District
4.
4.
Okay, anyway. Throw things back open to the public. If anybody else has anything else that is worthy of discussion. Andrew?
Sorry, I'm not trying to take up time. I want to say congratulations on getting that ball marker done. For those of you who don't know, that took 5 years and 2 months from the first time I brought that issue up to enhance aviation safety. And Charlie, you were correct at the time. Venable hadn't been cleared. And so the one power line marker that we were worried about was that one. But that's a great point, Heiko, to bring that up. And I'm very much in favor. Hopefully this time it wouldn't take 5 years to get that done. But super excited about that because that took some doing. So thank you guys for doing that. I think that greatly enhances the safety of the airport. Asked a question last month. I don't know if I got an answer on that. We used to get tower updates on any new towers getting built. That went away for some reason, and I don't know why, and or if we get tower updates still. Does anyone remember the gentleman's name, like Dave or something?
Joe
Joe.
Hockle.
Hockle.
Used to come every month. He would sit over there, and he rarely had anything to say.
But one time he did.
One time he did.
So it's not trying
his-
to waste staff member time, but if there's still a way that any new towers that are being proposed could be brought before this board, I think that would be beneficial. So it might not be worth his time, but maybe he gives you an update, or I don't know. That's
And
just,
his name was Joe what?
Hockle, Hochel.
I know.
Joe H, yeah.
Yeah,
Joe Hockenau.
because there's a Joe Hockenau that works here, so.
Yeah, that's
So,
probably it.
how do you spell his last
That-
name
that-
again?
yeah, I think so. And he came religiously, and then I don't know what
I
happened.
believe it said H-O-C-E,
Hochel, I believe.
Okay.
Last comment is about the obstruction removal. You know, it's been the mission of this board for decades now to have 5,000-foot long runways at both airports. And it took some doing at Inverness and is still obviously taking some doing in Crystal River. And because the board was so adamant, the Inverness Airport runway was actually built to be 5,001 foot long. It has since shrank to 5,000 feet when they measured it. I don't quite understand how that happened, but we did lose 1 feet. If you look at the historical, it used to be published as 5,001 feet.
Spine shrinkage.
Now it's 5,000 feet. If we have to displace the threshold, that will, just as Crystal River knows, send the majority of turbine traffic away, unfortunately. And with the business park and everything, I think it's important that we keep every inch of that 5,000-foot long runway that we've worked hard to get. The obstruction removal project is going to be hard and difficult and tough, but I think it's worth doing. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I would like to make one other comment that's not on here, but George, you did ask the question last about the armory and what's going on with the armory, and I think you asked a question about permitting.
Okay, I vaguely remember, yes, go ahead.
Well, the only reason why I remember so well is because I listened to the recording a couple of days ago. So that project is under the state. I called the armory and talked with their sergeant first class, and I'm supposed to be getting a call from someone that's heading up this project, because there are some permitting questions and things like that. So I'm just found that out yesterday afternoon. So bear with me. I'm hoping to get some information
Yeah,
about
I
that.
recall that was, they were doing a parking lot expansion or
Correct.
something?
Correct.
And then, so then the question was, were they coming into the county for the permits to do that, or were they, or where were they going with that? So we-
To us.
Okay.
I think that's, and I don't know if she's contacted, well, I've contacted someone in the county downstairs and they have no record of of anything with the National Guard or for this project. So waiting for that phone call.
And there is a large board facing Venable. It's got information on it, and it is the best I recall, there was reference to the state.
Okay. I guess if I don't hear from her by Friday, then I'll know to take a stop by that board and see if I can get some information. Yep.
I saw that map that somebody threw up on the television,
Oh,
Yep.
but it's got no numbers. Oh, here is a map with numbers. District 4 is southeast. District 5 is northeast.
District 4, isn't that?
So Holly's district appears to be District 5.
Yes, that's correct, according to the webpage I'm looking at as well.
Ruthie is 3.
Kennard is one.
Kennard is
Carl,
1.
you are 1.
Jeff.
You are Kennard. And
Bays is 4.
Bays is 4.
is Diane 4?
No.
I'm sorry, Diane is 2.
two, she's two.
Okay.
That's where I am.
Got it. Alrighty then, thank you for that. Now we know. We can all sleep better at night. If there is nothing else, our next meeting is January 9th.
11th. I made an error.
Yeah.
You what, I'm sorry?
I made an error. It's the 11th, not the 9th. I know.
The 11th, we're going to change that.
Yeah, we talked about it.
In any case, it's Thursday, the second Thursday of the month. Am I right about
It's
that?
the
You are right about that.
Very good. I'd like to wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, Crazy Kwanzaa, and Festivus for the rest of us. Whatever everybody likes to enjoy this time of year. It's a beautiful time. And we'll see you all next year. If I could get a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn?
Carl? Second by Mark? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.